Welcome to your Spiritual Besties podcast. I'm Lauren Ledoux.
And I'm Rashida McCoy. We're here to laugh, cry, learn, and connect with you.
We discuss anything and everything from our everyday lives to the magical, mystical, and woo-woo.
So take a deep breath, grab a cup of tea,
and set an intention to receive, because you deserve it, bestie. Hello, I'm good. This episode feels really overdue. I was like, can we please just do like a catch-up episode because we need to catch up. I feel like life has been really busy lately, and we haven't done like our regular voice noting and all of that. And truth be told, we've been chatting now for about 45 minutes. So it's time to hit record because we still have a lot to catch up on.
We do have a lot to still catch up on.
It's funny too because I have had like a few bigger things come up that have filled a lot of time, but I don't know. I feel like in general, kind of like my energy spread out in a few different places right now, and I haven't been on my phone as much, which has been great. But also, I've not been voice noting you every day and stuff, so it just feels kind of weird when that happens.
It does. I think too, when you were taking your social break, I was like, we would typically voice on Instagram, and I'm like, I don't want to like do that because she's not going to be on there. And then we did switch to WhatsApp, but I don't usually use WhatsApp like talking about. So it was just like, I was not in the habit. And there were times in the day I'm like, oh, I need to tell Lauren this. And I'm like, oh, well, I'll save it. I'll save it for when we chat for the pod. But yeah, I think you're right. It's felt a little like distant as far as like just us being able to chit chat and catch up. So I'm excited about this episode.
Yeah, me too. So besties, we did one like this like July of last year, and we were like, it's time to just do a full life check in again. So we appreciate you being along for the ride and for caring about us. That's pretty cool. And yeah, we hope you feel more connected and less alone, because I think, when we're open and vulnerable about our experiences, it's connective. So I say that, yeah. I was thinking about this the other day because I have this kind of weird relationship, I think we all do, with social media. And I'm like, part of my one limiting belief, in quotes, that I've had is like, I have nothing to say. And having this like weekly meeting or podcast recording has been really good to help dispel that belief, I think. Yeah, I don't know where I'm going with that exactly, but I'm just saying, like, if you have something inside that you want to share with somebody, that it is important. And people do care. So.
No, absolutely. And, I think the biggest part of that equation is having the right person.
Yeah.
Or people, because I have you that I can voice note like all day long with. And I also have another friend who we've like really, 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 really hit it off. I told you I met her at the library, Lauren, and we voice note quite often too. About like homeschool stuff and different things, but it's been nice because we get really deep. And I've actually tried calling her a few times, like when I've been in the car to go see a client, and it just never works out. Like we're always so busy. That's why I think whoever made voice notes like did it for the moms, because
no kidding.
It's just so much easier for me to like interact with my kid and chat than to like try to find like dedicated time like to sit on the phone and chit chat with someone.
I know. Think about our moms who had like the phone connected to the wall.
If you don't know what we're talking about, I don't know what to say because
you're young.
Yes, had the phone connected to the walls. I mean, I don't know. I do remember now, I grew up in a cordless phone house for sure. So we had a phone in like almost every room, and my mom was like the phone person. So She loved being on the phone and would send us outside. Like, go outside and play. I guess we would be too loud or something like that, but
Different
it's cool. We
times.
had plenty of yard to play in different times. Yeah.
Uh,
I can go outside and play and then take my phone with me.
I
But
love it.
anyway, yeah, I love that we're doing this episode. Last episode we did was back in July, and we talked about some key areas of our life. And I think this is so important just to check in, because not often do you like really get to chat with your bestie like about these things in such a formatted way, and it still can be very flowy energetically, but it's nice to kind of just check in on all these things, because I know depending on where we are in our lives, what we have going on, we do talk about these things, but not necessarily like from a holistic view of like life in general. So I
Yeah.
really, really love that we're doing this again.
Yeah, it's nice to have the format because, not saying it wouldn't be interesting necessarily if we just said go and talked like we typically do, but I think as friends too, it's nice to have a little bit of structure so that we can talk about things that maybe wouldn't come up in just, regular conversation. So, let's go. Our first category is I feel like a game show host. Um, is home. So, Rashida, what's up with you? And, I mean that in all the ways. What's up with you in home? Did it freeze for a second?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, I marked it. Okay, so for home, I feel like I remember correctly back in July, I was just super hectic at home. Home life meaning like my physical space. I had just come off of like working a retreat or something like that, and being very busy. This year, I've been doing a lot of like spring cleaning. I've been doing a lot of trying to like get things out of here that are just stuck and stagnant. Or I shouldn't say this year, recently. As far as everything else, I don't know. I really don't know what to say about my home life. I am slowly but surely still getting my mom transitioning to her new house. So I still have some lingering things here of hers, and decide how to set up our space in a way that is super conducive for the family. We use a lot of the rooms, and I think I want to start like having designated spaces for things because we're all over the place. I think it would help just energetically the house and the feel of everything. So maybe starting to create designated areas. Um what else? Oh yes. The big part of my home life, and I'm just talking about the physical space really, is Daniel and I we have the master bedroom, and we shared the walk-in closet. We also had like another closet on the other side that we just had like miscellaneous things in, like my yoni steamer, all these different things that I just had in there. And Daniel's like, you know what? Why don't you just take the walk-in closet and I will take this side closet? And I'm like, okay, sure. So I redid all that stuff, and now I have my little altar upstairs that's just mine. It's not the family's, and I absolutely love it. I I love my little closet. I love my little space. Um but yeah, that's really what I have going on. Outside the home, we got a lot of the stuff that just was no longer like needed. Like I had a trailer in my like an RV trailer that my brother had left, and that is gone. I am starting the process of putting thyme down. So I have to kill all the grass around this front patch of my yard, and then I can plant thyme. I am hoping to, in the next 3 to 5 years, have a yard that's like eco-friendly, more natural plants from Virginia, not just like grass. Um, I just want to be able to support the environment, and I can do my part, and I have the land to do it, so why not? So it's going to be a long process. Things are going to look janky, but and I think it's worth it. So I started that process, and I feel really, really, really good about it. And Yeah, we're gonna downgrade our pool. We have an above ground pool. It's just a lot. It's a lot to manage. So we're gonna downgrade and get a smaller one. Other than that, like that's what's going on with home life for me. Like I am just in the process still. I just feel like I'm still transitioning. And I think when I think about that, if I would have thought last year in July that I'd still be in this place right now, it'd feel kind of daunting. But I think it speaks to the point that transformations take sometimes a long time. It takes like slowly but surely, like moving and turning things over and figuring things out to become something that I want. So, is my home the way I want it to be yet? No, not really. Am I still figuring things out? Absolutely. And as my kids grow, things are going to like change as well. So, it's just like a really good reminder now that I'm saying it out loud to know that transformation takes time and it's okay, but enjoying the figuring out and enjoying the process and enjoying the little things along the way, like my my closet that I have to myself now is things to look forward to. So yeah, that's what I have going on at home. How about you, Lauren?
Yeah, I resonate so much with what you're saying about transformation takes time and even like the long-term vision. I think I said this in the last episode we did, but ever since I've become an adult, so that was a while ago, I've been moving at most like every 3 years and at least every year. If that, I don't know if I said that right, but like I haven't been in one place for more than 3 years since I've become an adult. And so when I'm thinking about transforming a space or making it mine, it always feels very urgent because it's like, I don't know how long I'm going to be here necessarily, or I'm not planning on being here long term.
Mhm.
And now we're in this house that we are planning on being in for the long haul. Um, and what that includes for us, which I've talked about on the pod, is like a full renovation, which is getting closer and closer to reality, which is really exciting. It didn't work out the way we wanted it to the last couple of years. We've lived in this house now for 2.5 years. Um, the good thing is we've had a while to kind of figure out what we do want and how we want to use it and what our parameters are, like, neighborhood wise, what we're allowed to do. So we have our plans finalized for the house. We have a builder, and now we're just waiting on our structural engineer to finish like the technical drawings before we can submit kind of everything to our city to hopefully be approved and then get construction started and all of that. So that's been a really interesting process. Yeah, just thinking about what we need in a house and how we want to use a house and like to think about it in the long term and to continue thinking about it that way, as we're picking like floors and fixtures and things like that of like, what are we going to like for a long time? And, there's even things, and this is the kind of stuff that's I've been thinking about, like, as I've turned 40 is like, what do the next 40 years look like? Am I going to be in this house for the next 40 years? I could be,
Mhm.
we could pass this house down to Gemma. Like, I don't really know. Um, but we have things in the plans like all of our bedrooms are going to be upstairs, but we made sure to have one on the main floor that will be like kind of an office too, but a guest room. But like, if we have to move my parents in or one parent in eventually, or have somebody with like limited mobility with here, we'll do that. We made sure like the bathroom has a walk-in shower, and those aren't things that we need yet, but they're
Right.
things we could need down the line. So it's weird, I think, for me to like be thinking about things in this way, but I'm really excited about the design and about having like a really functional house. And yeah, like you said, kind of having a place for everything. I don't feel like I have anything in this house that's really like mine right now. Which is kind of hard. We'll get to it in health, but my doctor asked me recently, like, what do you have that's like for you? And I'm like, "Duh." I don't know.
Jeez.
He wasn't talking about the house, but just like life in
Yeah.
general. And yeah, so that being said, hopefully we'll get started with construction this summer, and by the end of this year, we'll be in our new house, in our new old house. But in the meantime, yeah, we talked about spring cleaning in our March Oracle episode, and I've been just obsessed with making sure that everything is really organized, and we're getting rid of like donating stuff so that like when we store everything away, it's organized, and when we bring it back into the new house, like I don't have to even put
Think
that
about
mental
it.
labor into everything. I'm just going to do it now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've spent a lot of time at IKEA and getting containers and stuff. I have these like black chalkboard labels. They're on like absolutely everything. That way too, I can erase them and write something new if I need to. I still have a long way to go, but like I did Gemma's toys, her room. I just did like our bathroom and linen closet, which was a total project. And I have a lot more to go, but it feels really good. And yeah, I hope it makes it. We don't like know our timeline yet, so I feel like I'm doing what I can do right now just to make sure that we're ready. But it's been really cool. I got like what is it called? Calyx. I think not the Calyx system. That's the cubbies that we have at the studio. Um, I don't know. The name escapes me, but this whole system from IKEA with like tubs and they slide in and out, and we have like shelves that fit them downstairs and upstairs, and it makes it really easy to like switch the
That's really
toys out and
cool.
stuff. And it's been really good for Gemma. We don't have messes everywhere all the time. She knows to like get it out, play, and then we put it back, And it's not. I was trying to follow before this like a Montessori method where you have like all the toys out on the shelves, and that's supposed to be kind of the method of like, oh, they take one toy at a time and put it back. No, it ended up being a disaster. I do, baby. That's great. Okay.
Gemma heard her name.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a lot cleaner. I feel like my brain is just it's in a good place.
Yeah.
And yeah, it'll be a good preparation for this house thing. But yeah, it feels really good, like and really grounding to just be like, yeah, this is our house. These are the plans. Um, but yeah, getting everything ready is quite a thing on every side. I was laughing with Arthur this morning because like somebody is kind of holding up this project for us right now. I don't want to name any names on the podcast, but we're like, this is everything when you're an adult feels like a group project in school. And man, making sure you have the right teams is so hard. And this is something that is like, it's a huge investment. It's, yeah, it's a lot. It takes a lot of people. And you just want everyone to be on top of it.
No, I understand. My mom has built her house. It's
Mhm.
still waiting. Still it's you're right. You have to ensure that you have the right team and the people who are in it for you. And I know just in the industry, I think and this is just hearing from other people, this industry is kind of hard to get follow through and
Yeah.
to get people to stay on top of it. Like you kind of have to be that person to
Yeah.
follow through and follow up. So
Yeah. And thankfully, Arthur doesn't really have a problem, like, you know, being a little
nudging,
pushy. Yeah.
giving a little
When
nudge.
needed. Yeah, for sure. But beyond that, yeah, it's very exciting. And when it comes to home, I feel really grateful mostly to feel grounded and safe and to like know that there is a safe place for my family to thrive.
Mhm.
Um, even before this renovation thing, it's awesome. Like last night, Arthur came home and Gemma's really into her play makeup right now. And she and him were sitting at the table together, and it's a beautiful day. And, I'm looking at them. She's putting nail polish on him. I'm like looking at the water behind them. We had nice music playing. And it was just one of those moments of like, yeah, this is why we're here. Like this is the good stuff.
Yeah.
Soak it in,
Soak it in, yeah.
Yeah. So that felt really good. So yeah, that's home.
Thank you. I love that. I'm so excited to see once everything gets started. You showed me your plans, and I'm super excited. I don't know if they've changed since you showed me, but you've showed me your plans, and I've seen the house. I've been to the house. I visited when I came for your book launch. I am really excited to see what it looks like after everything is said and done. And I don't think I'm going to get to do that this year. Obviously, I plan on visit you, but we're not going to stay at your place. But
Yeah.
next year, the big reveal is going to happen when you've been in for a while and you know how everything is going to work and function. So I'm really excited for that. For
Yeah. Thank you.
you,
Me too.
yeah.
I'm excited. All right. Which
Why
one
don't
do you want to talk
why
about
don't you take
next?
us to health? You had alluded to something.
Oh, health.
Yeah, we can skip around a little
Health.
bit.
Yeah.
You said
Well,
something about your doctor had
oh,
asked.
yeah. Oh, so I turned 40 a couple weeks
Yes.
ago. And I
Yes, you
was like,
did.
I need to just make an appointment with my doctor and figure out all the things that I am supposed to be doing right now. Meaning what health tests do I need? And I got
Mhm.
my mammogram set up and got blood drawn and
Is this your
set up.
first mammogram?
Yeah, yeah. It's in a couple days. And set up a pap smear and I need to do a full skin check. There are just
Things.
lots of things to check up on. But I really like my doctor. He's really cool. He's a regular MD, but very holistic too. When you go for a checkup, he asks about your diet in detail and asks about your movement in detail and your happiness and family. And, he looks at
I
things,
love that.
yeah, on kind of the bigger picture level. So I appreciated that. And, the one complaint I generally have is sleep. And, um,
Mhm.
yeah, he's like, yeah, things are tough when you have kids that age. And he's like, what are you doing for you right now? And I'm like, well, I told you I'm exercising and eating well and, working and hanging with the family. But do I have anything really for myself right now? No. That's another reason I'm excited for the house. I'm going to have a big bathtub. That's
Oh
one
my
of the
gosh,
things I'm
yes.
most excited about because will others use it in the house? Yeah, but that's going to be mine.
A tub that you can actually soak into and your
Yeah.
boobs are under as well? Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. My God. Um, yeah, there are going to be things set up kind of just for me. And honestly, I know this isn't really health, but I keep myself occupied and I do have things that are self-care related. Um, are they hobbies? I don't know if I could even consider them that at this point. To me, exercise is just a non-negotiable. I have to do it or I feel awful. Yeah, really at night after Gemma falls asleep and if Arthur's sleeping too, I'm either reading or I'm watching an episode of RuPaul's Drag Race, and I feel like RuPaul's Drag Race is really, pretty much the only thing that
That's your thing.
yeah, I've been so obsessed with it ever since I was pregnant with Gemma, that's been my show. I'm rewatching seasons. I watch seasons, all over the world. Um, it's
I love that so
yeah.
much.
I just love it so much. So yeah.
What is it about it? What calls to you? I know there's probably
Mm,
lots of things, but what about it that you're just obsessed with?
yeah, I mean a few things. One is it is really good reality TV,
Mhm.
a really good reality TV competition where the people in it are extremely talented. They have to be able to do a lot of different things. They have to be able to sew and create beautiful looks, and they have to be able to dance, and they have to be able to do comedy and act, and also be vulnerable and show who they are. And there's just a lot of elements. So it's exciting to see people who are really good at a lot of things, you know? And I also love the freedom of expression that drag represents. They are so outside of the box that society likes to put us in, and they do it
Mm,
joyfully and rebelliously, and I love that. You know, for
yeah.
me, like, it really speaks to my soul in that way. Um, I love, like I love LGBTQ culture in the, like, pride aspect. Like, their existence is resistance in a way, and living, like, loud and proud and just being who they are is, like, to me, it's just such a beautiful thing. And I love performance, and, you know, I grew up performing,
Yes.
so there's just a lot of elements, and I love RuPaul. RuPaul is, obviously a superstar, but
Yeah.
he's he's been through a lot in his life. I'm listening to his autobiography right now, and he has a lot of wisdom too. Like, he's obviously done a lot of spiritual work and has been through a lot of therapy and 12 step and stuff like that. So, um, you know, there are elements of the show that get really deep too. So it just has everything. And then I fall in love with the different queens. And I don't know. I can watch it without feeling stressed out. That's
Yeah, I like that.
like pretty much that and the British Baking Show.
That's my
Um,
obsession
Yeah, but it would be like, imagine there's Great British Baking Show, but they have, like, franchises all over the world and, like, it's going on all the
all the
time. That's kind
time.
of like what RuPaul's Drag Race is. They're in many different countries and, uh, yeah, it's big. Yeah, Great British Baking Show comes on once a year, and then they might have, like, a holiday episode, but, you know, I don't always have the content to be taking
To
in.
taking in, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, and RuPaul's Drag Race, they have all-stars seasons too, so they'll take, like, a bunch of great people from other seasons and then put them together, so you already know them as they're, like, going through the competition. You can see how they've grown and how they interact together. They had an all-winners season, so it was, like, all the best queens just all together competing, and it was yeah, it's just cool to see anyone who's, like, great at what they do, in my opinion. That's why like, I'm not into sports, but I watch the Olympics because it inspires awe in me.
Mhm.
So anyway, I know we're in health and I just really went off on a long tangent, but
I asked the question.
yeah, I think you would love it. I think you would love it. You gotta like
Okay, I think so too. I like
yeah,
those competition style shows, and I love a good drag show
yeah,
as well. So
yeah. And like in the end, they're typically not taking themselves too seriously. I just yeah, it brings me a lot of joy. But um okay. And then health-wise, yeah, I feel pretty good. I think I was trying to think, I had a word on my list of, like, words for the year. I think it was, like, vitality. Like, I just wanna feel vibrant and great in my skin and alive. Unfortunately, I have felt sick the last couple of months, but
I know.
it's been, like, random respiratory stuff, COVID. Now I think it's just allergies. Um but, you know, I haven't had alcohol in several months. I just don't want anything that, like, drags me down in any
Yeah.
way, and that, you know, messes with my sleep, and, so that's been really good. I'm on a pretty regular movement program because I love to. Oh, and this has been a big thing. I love walking. It's one of my, like, favorite forms of exercise. Love it so much. I wish I could walk everywhere. I used to walk everywhere with Gemma. She loved being in the stroller. When she was a baby, she'd nap in the stroller, and it just, you know, I'd put in podcasts or talk to my therapist. It like worked out really well. But at age like 2 or 3, it started becoming a lot harder, and I've been like trying to figure out how to do it. I can't just put her in the carrier and go. She doesn't want to be in there for long periods of time. Um, I have a big wagon, which is awesome for like the zoo, but it's not like she doesn't want to sit and be pushed in it to walk around the neighborhood. So I'm like missing walks so bad right now. And I'm like, how can I get my walks in again? Well, I thrifted like a tricycle for Gemma to see if she'd like it. Like she saw it at the thrift store and got really excited. So we brought it home and she's been like pedaling it around the house. It's taken her a while to figure out pedals. But she figured them out. And then I was like, you know, I'm going to get one of those tricycles that you can push.
Push, yeah.
Yeah, and you can take the push handle off too. So we got one of those, and we've been walking around the neighborhood with that, and it's been
Has it been a game
awesome.
changer?
Yes. Yes. And you know, when you're a parent, you're always trying to, like, figure out what the thing is that you need, what your kid needs, and, it's just a whole people say it can be simple, and it can be, but it's like if you want to be able to do certain things on your terms, you have to figure out how to fit the kid in there, right?
Mhm.
And for me, like, I wanna take walks. So it's really cool because 'cause I'll push her, but she'll also she can pedal on her own too when she wants. So it's a nice, like, happy medium. She's not bored.
Where she
Um
doesn't get tired, and if she does get tired, she doesn't have to.
Yeah, exactly. And, like, I can steer it from the
Handle?
handle, and it's taught her how to steer better because it moves her handles, and, so that's been awesome. The
I
best,
love
like,
that.
$60 I've spent in a long time.
I
Yeah.
think I might have to, get that for Miles. He's still so we have a wagon that we
Mm.
utilize, and we also have a garden wagon. And when we're outside, like, we don't even put this garden wagon up anymore. It sees all the elements these days, but he just wants to sit in it and be pulled around.
Mm.
That's all he wants. And we have a circular drive that we put in a little bit after we moved into the house, and so that's where I've been getting my walks in. I love to walk through the woods, but Miles does not do very well yet. He's, 20 months. He's
Yeah.
still figuring it out. Macy does. She'll say, "Let's go walk in the forest." And I'm like, "Okay, let's do
Yeah, it's
it."
her element for
It's
sure.
it really is. But until he, catches up. I think I took over. Am I taking over the health question now? Did you finish up?
I think I was gonna say one more thing, but other than
Okay, why
that.
don't you go ahead and say one more
Oh, no,
thing?
it's okay. Oh, yeah, I've been obsessed about skincare.
Yeah? Are you have new products?
I think I finally, like, landed on what works for me, which is
Mm,
good 'cause over I organized our bathroom today and got rid of a lot of products, but I've been, yeah, trying to figure it out over the last few months, 'cause I have, like, sensitive skin and rosacea, and I have scarring from, like, hormonal acne from my 20s and early 30s, and, I'm starting to get wrinkles, and it's fine. I wanna age gracefully and all of that, but I'm like, how do I wanna look as vibrant on the outside as I feel on the inside, or more so sometimes to cover up the lack of sleep. But yeah, I feel that's been kind of fun. I've been learning on a lot of different forums and stuff, different products, and I've, like, landed on something really simple and consistent too. That was really hard for me in my 20s and even early 30s to, like, stay really consistent with
mhm.
skincare and sunscreen and even, like, washing my makeup off at night, unfortunately. I just
That wasn't your forte.
no, and I am happy that, like, at least by age 40, I feel like I've got, a good routine going on. Um, yeah, that's about it, sorry. It's not really, like, health, but it is,
Oh,
like,
it is, it's part of it.
yeah,
It's so funny, you're like, "By age 40, I've kind of figured it out."
yeah.
Well, for me, I didn't grow up, knowing that it was, like, a whole skincare thing. I literally had soap and a washcloth, and I was told, like, to wash my face. I'm doing things a little bit different with my kiddos, so we have when we're all together in the mornings, we have a little routine I'll go through, and it's really quick. I mean, I use, like, simple products too. Um, like, clean, just, like, clean I think it says clean, honestly, is what the brand is. But I remember I was on a cruise one time, and I was sitting in there for their, like, facial thing, and the lady was talking and educating, and she said, "If you don't remember anything, just remember the serum." Like, if I had to talk about any particular product, a serum will help you out. And so ever since then, I was like, all right, I'll get a serum. It's fine. And I've included that in my routine, and I absolutely love it. So I have a little routine that I do with me, and if the kids are there with the kids, they put their little hands up and they, like, want all the little products, and they, like, dab it on their face. They don't rub it in very well yet. But it's been nice too. I enjoy that. I was not that way in my 20s. I was just, let's get some soap. Let's just use some warm water, call it a day. Lotion, what? Sunscreen, what? No. But you're right. Now that we're getting older, it is one of those things. And then to talk about the walking, I have decided to make a commitment to myself. A few weeks back, I think, is when I decided this. I've been getting very frustrated with the lack of time that I've been having for myself as far as like the exercise. And I'll do really good one morning with the kids, and then the next morning it's like clinging, crying, all the things. So I said, if I cannot do my workout, I can at least do 10,000 steps a day. I can commit to 10,000 steps. And you know what? I have been so proud of myself. And ever since I committed that, I literally feel it helping as far as like my muscles are sore because I am like actually walking like I'm supposed to. And Daniel and I have our time together. I'm still committing to my health and I am walking. We will pick an episode and I'll be like, hey, dude, I got 3,000 steps I got to get in. And he's like, all right, get your mat. I'll sit on this side of the couch and I'm just walking and talking. And, we're not laying there cuddling on the couch together, but we are together. And I'm still, you know, committing to myself. And I love that. I decided that if I can't do this, what's the pivot? What's the shift for me? How am I going to stay committed to myself and my health? So I've loved that. I'm so excited that it is warming up because then we can go to town. And I think I am going to get one of those tricycle things because I think Miles would love it. He loves sitting in a wagon, but when he decides to hop off, I don't want to have to like run after him. So I love that idea. What else? I am actually due for my physical here. Macy and I are going to get physicals together. I just decided to make it a thing. I see a doctor. She is a direct pay doctor. I noticed like in my area, at least, I had this feeling of like, I was just a number. I just, had my appointment scheduled. I was there for maybe 20 minutes and I was gone. I didn't really get talked to about all the things. And so I found this particular doctor and she's amazing. Me, Daniel, and Macy see her. She doesn't specialize in peds, so I still have Miles go to a pediatrician for now. But she, like, at minimum, we're there an hour in her office. And she first asks about us, asks how I'm doing, asks how my sleep is, asks all these things. And I just feel so good and I don't feel rushed. So I'm going to be seeing her next week. And yeah, we're going to do my fasting labs and talk about all the things. I am going to have to schedule a mammogram appointment earlier just because I had some stuff in my family. But I'm not going to do that yet because I'm still slowly breastfeeding. Miles will be hit or miss. He'll come when he wants to come and he'll ignore me when he wants to ignore me. So, and it kind of makes me a little sad, but we'll get into that with motherhood. What else health-wise?
Oh,
I
can I
am
add something before you go in there? Just because I think it's helpful for
yeah.
anyone listening. I also have direct primary care.
Mm,
Um, just to explain what that is, like we're not going through insurance. That means we like pay straight up for the care. What we do is it the same with you? Do you pay like a membership fee?
mhm.
Yeah. So we pay a membership and then we just go and see the doctor or call them or whatever, whenever we need to, and it's included in that. They've also negotiated like really low rates for things like x-rays, MRIs, lab testing, etc. So everything's like cash pay, or you aren't going through insurance. Therefore, it's way cheaper. We came upon this because we're both entrepreneurs. We had like traditional healthcare, and it was so expensive and had a high deductible. It was prohibitively expensive. So I was like, I need to figure out a different way to get us healthcare that like is hopefully better than what we have right now
Mhm.
and less expensive. So we do direct primary care for everyone in the family, including Gemma, her pediatrician is direct. And then we have what's called like a Christian health share. Um, it is like, for some reason, it's associated with Christianity, but I don't know. I think anyone can join. I think they just have like some Christian principles and whatnot. But essentially, like, you pay for your services and then you submit your invoices and they pay you back for everything. Um, so
Yeah,
between those two
you were
things,
saying. Mm.
we're fully covered, and it's like half the price of what we would be paying for insurance.
Yeah.
Um,
The
and
health share is, and I
yeah,
just want to say that, like, you are, by being a member, you are essentially, it's what it says, you're sharing the costs of your healthcare.
yeah,
That's why you can pay for your stuff out of pocket, but then submit and get reimbursed, because the amount of people that are in the pool
hmm,
helps to, like, no one, I mean, I'm sure people are making money off of it, but it's not like these big corporations who are only trying to make money off
yeah,
of that. So since you don't have quote unquote health insurance, it allows you to go to these places to negotiate like lower prices. Like, you can say, you know,
hmm,
I'm not covered and I do want to get this bill paid. Like, how can you help me out with this? And they will negotiate it. Whereas if you have health insurance, they're going to charge you the max, because the
yep,
health insurance isn't even going to pay them that. They're charging super ridiculous absorbent prices so that the health insurance can say, well, we're only going to pay you 40%. And they're like, well, if they're going to pay 40%, the 40% is now, does that make sense? Like, where I'm
yeah.
going with that?
Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah.
If you live outside the US and you're listening to this and you have a better system, be grateful for it. For us, we really have to like figure out how to have healthcare, which is hard. But yeah, go ahead. Sorry, I just wanted to like interrupt and
No, I think
explain what
that's
we were talking about.
No, I think that's really
Mhm,
important. Now for us, once I get Miles, once he hits 2,
mhm,
so not this, obviously not the end of this year, but when we are supposed to redo our insurance. So I do have insurance through Daniel's employer. Um, it sucks.
mhm,
It sucks. So I am paying a lot of money, but I also want to ensure that Miles was covered, because for whatever reason, his age, I don't know. I don't know what happened, but I couldn't find a direct pay pediatrician here in my area. I still wanted him to see someone who specialized in young kids, because doctors, they study them, but it's not their specialty. So
mhm,
once he comes off of that and I can have him be with our doctor, I'm going to take all that away and just do strictly what you do with the direct pay and the health share. But we were doing that at one point when it was just the three of us. But anyway, so I don't even know where I was going. I don't even know where I was going, but I think it's important that people know that there are other options,
yeah.
because that was the one thing when I left my job that I had to say, holy shit, what do I do now? Like, what do we do now? This is
Mhm.
expensive. So yeah, the steps, I'm committing to myself 10K. I also found a really cool program. I'm hoping at one point I can get her on the pod, Lauren, because she's fantastic. Her name is Janelle, I want to say, and she does Naughty Girl Fitness. I am in love with these workouts when I can get them in. I mean, just the type of energy that's needed, like, talk about like bad bitch energy, like bad bitch vibes. Like, it just, I don't know. There's like a confidence about it in this workout. Um, so I'm loving that. I joined the membership. I'm doing the thing. I have them for a year. What else? And yeah, as far as like food wise, I'm doing really good. I think I told you I have a Sam's Club membership. And if anyone does not have like these big company memberships, it's really worth it, because you can literally buy vegetables and stuff that are really good quality in bulk. So you're not like piddling through like little stores. I don't know, vegetables, and fruits, like they come huge. And for like the four of us, I get like huge bag of Brussels sprouts, huge 2 bags of broccoli, green beans. I'm getting spinach and salads and all these things. And I can literally get fruits and vegetables, all these things for under $100. Um, So yeah, I have been doing that a lot more fresh things in my diet. And just like really just saying, if I can't do this thing during the day, like I can at least stick to committing to myself health wise by the things that I put in my body and also the walks that I can take, the steps that I can get in. So I'm feeling really good. Right now, I'm hoping to, I don't know, feel a little different as far as energy wise the next couple of months. And yeah, I feel really good. I haven't really had any illnesses this year yet. Maybe earlier on in the year, maybe it was last year, but I'm hoping to combat all that with like taking better care of my body, having the kids take better care of what they're eating and putting in their bodies. So yeah, I feel good around this category. I'm feeling very, very good.
I love it.
All
Shall
right,
we go
friend.
into a business?
Yeah, let's do business.
Okay. Do you want to go first?
Sure. I always feel like business is complicated for me. I have been, I don't want to complain, but Lauren, I believe we were talking about it a while ago, how, we can like infuse our online businesses with like our physical businesses and not replace it, like really incorporate everything. And I'm still in that like incorporation phase. As besties, you probably know, I am a massage therapist. I've been massaging for 12 years, geez, 12 years. I'm pretty good at what I do, and I don't mind saying that because I think I am. I know I am. And I just am constantly getting clients who want to see me. But I also have to realize I'm only one person, and I don't want to completely do massage full time at all. I don't want to do it full time. I don't want to put that on my body, as well as there are other areas, other trainings that I've been doing that I just want to start incorporating more into my life. And so I am currently in the process of figuring out how to incorporate my coaching and intuitive work with my massage work. And I think a lot of that is still going to be like one on one, like in the physical, but I do want to create some offerings that incorporate more of my massage online and more of what I do online in massage. So, as far as business goes, I'm still trucking. I still have a few clients that I'm seeing online. I still have a lot of clients that I'm seeing in person. But I am just still slowly just figuring out what this is going to look like. And I think, again, it goes back to like that. It takes time. Transformation takes time. I don't know what this model looks like because I have never done it. I've never seen it done before. And also too, I think that's the great part about it is I get to choose what it is I want to do and how I want to do it. I don't have to like go into a job and they tell me what my job is. I get to create this thing. So, business wise, complicated, but that's fine. I'm doing great in all areas and I'm just slowly figuring out what everything's going to look like. What about you, Lauren?
Well, I'm going to be making macaroni and cheese while I'm talking. Yeah,
Hashtag mom life.
yeah. I think you'll figure out your method. It's kind of like what we were talking about with our homes. There's no rush, right? Because it's not like you don't have work right now, and this is hopefully something that you want to do for a long time. So transformation takes time. But I do love. If for anyone who doesn't know, Rashida did like a yo massage training the last, I don't know, year and a half ago, something like that,
Yep.
where it's you can do massage kind of incorporated with restorative yoga within a group setting. So that's something too that you can utilize. You'll be able to use your methodology not just one-on-one, but with groups too, I think, which is going to be pretty awesome. You're muted.
Sorry. I have a space in town for that. I'm so excited for that. But that's also the one thing when we start our business here on the property that I want to be able to do as well. People come to see me for that, and I'm so excited. You're right, Lauren. Like it is a game changer. So yeah, thank you for reminding me to talk about that.
Of course. Um, okay, so business. Yeah, this year I've been really focused on my yoga studio mostly. Yeah, the last few years have just been really hard. As far as the pandemic hitting and then having a baby and I've seen like so many yoga studios close around me and it's still happening. Um like 2 in just the last month. Uh yeah, where it's like kind of just the chains who are making it and I know I've built something that's been really important to the community and that's different and that's deep and you know authentic. But yeah, I've been the last couple of years I don't know how I guess it has been conscious, but with like doing the training with for coaching and intuition, um, I've been wanting to have skills that if I needed to like jump ship, apparent like so to speak, or close the studio, that I'd be able to still like make a living and
Mm,
be able to do it online if necessary, if in person things are still like weird. So that's been kind of a weird place to be in. I don't regret like doing any of the trainings or writing the book or anything like that because I think there's still important parts of like what I will be doing in the future and what I'm currently doing. But I think my mindset has shifted because I've seen like, okay, I can like somehow, even while I've been stressed out and things have changed a lot, my studio has survived. And while I was doing kind of my planning for this year, it just became a really really apparent to me that at least like for this first part of the year it needed to be my main focus, like really focus on the studio and how to increase revenue and get my systems back in place and um, just really love on it you know
yeah.
um, so that's really what I've been more focused on than anything else and it's been really good. I feel like we've made a lot of progress and um, yeah, so things are rolling with that. We have good class sizes going on. We have such a great staff. We've even done things like I might have said this in the Oracle, but like clean all the stuff out that needed to be cleaned because we've accumulated a lot over the last 9 years and through different locations. And there was stuff just kind of like sitting in the closet that hadn't been dealt with in a long time. So yeah, it's been really good. We opened our little retail area. We have YTT going, yoga teacher training. So that it's felt really good. It feels like my roots. I'm a yogi at heart and I'm getting ready to sign another 3-year lease. So that feels good to kind of know that that's that's a part of my future because I didn't know if I would sign a new lease or if I'd even be offered one and it's been, yeah, kind of interesting just figuring out how to do all of this, I guess, in 2024 and as a mom. And yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's been different.
I think
Um,
too, like you're really speaking to a lot of what people are still going through and still feeling. Like we had COVID happen. What was it? Was it 2019, 2020? Whenever it
2020.
happened, 2020. And, things are still recovering from all of that. And I
Yeah.
think it's just, we're looking around and we're just like, why are our jobs still looking for people and why are, things are still slow and why this and why that? It really shook the foundation of like what was going on. It made you wake up and realize, hey, maybe I need to like look into other things so that I have income coming in. And I think a lot of people did that as well, looking at what they were doing and maybe trying to change or transition into something that would be sustainable if something like this were to happen again. Um, and it takes time. And I love that you have decided to keep your studio, and you've decided to, really dig, put more time back into that, because I know you love it. I really know you love it, and you love your community. So,
Yeah, I do love it. And before the pandemic, I had like visions and dreams of having like multiple I had 2 locations, but having more locations and really like growing in that way. And I don't have that ambition anymore. I just want to make this one space like the very best that it can be. And then we have our online components too. And that's what I feel. That's what feels really good right now. Um, yeah, everything is.
do you think it's because of like what happened, or you're
I
just like,
think I'm sure that has a lot to do with it. Yeah. um, yeah, and I think about like the lifestyle I want to have and how I want to be a mother, and you know, it
yeah,
just makes the most sense for me. It's also like, how can I maximize revenue at this one space?
yeah,
Um, like, is it at its full potential right now, and how can we make
get
the
it there.
most? Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Um, rather than thinking more and more and more. So yeah, I think the pandemic absolutely had something to do with it. Plus, like the cost of doing business now is so much higher
Mhm.
that like even if our revenue looks good, like the costs, like the expenses are way up. So just trying to like reconfigure everything has been a big project. So that's been most of my focus career wise. Obviously, this podcast has been consistent and wonderful for us. As far as kind of the other aspect of my business, which is the book and the coaching and um, intuitive work, I've not hit pause on it necessarily, but I guess I kind of have. It's kind of like what I was talking about with my house. Like I needed to figure out like how I want to use it and what's sustainable for the long term.
Mhm.
And so my plan was when the book was launched to like immediately have this membership or group program to kind of house the book and um, group coaching and all of that. And I was so exhausted after that launch in different ways, energetically and physically, emotionally, that I knew I needed to take some time to like kind of pause and figure it out and think about like what is something, because the studio takes a lot of my time. Obviously, mothering's like my number one priority. If I'm doing anything else on top of that, it needs to be fun and it
Yeah.
needs to be impactful and it needs to be sustainable. You know, it can't be just like this big thing that I put out there and then feel exhausted, and something in the works. And yeah, I think it's going to be something that is primarily online but has some in-person stuff too for people who are local. So that's really exciting. And I'll just say it's like a really accessible, like online membership community. Um, and I'm going to start it off in June with like 2 months of a book club where we can go through my book. Um, and we'll have sessions at my studio that are in person, but also online. So I kind of figured out how to do these hybrid sessions through my yoga teacher training program out of necessity. And I'm like, I'm not using all these cool techie things that I have all the time. Like, how can I utilize this in this other project I want to do? So I'll still be incorporating like yoga and movement, but also it will be a lot more like femme centric as far as the content goes. So I'm really excited to have this really like grounded spiritual community for women and femmes, and to be able to share my book in a deep way, and to just have this constant like connection to a community um, of women, but also, I don't know, provide something that is spiritual, that is not religious, that is not
Mhm.
church, that is not like way out there, that just feels really grounded and good, you know?
Yeah. No, I love that. I'm so excited for you, and I cannot wait to see how it all comes together. I wanted to like chat real quick about what you were talking about as far as hold on, I lost it. Oh, when you were saying like, you don't want to do these launches and then, be really tired to move on to the next thing. It's one of those things I think we also have to realize a lot of times when we're looking outside, we're not seeing a complete picture. We don't realize who's helping whom with what. And I think a lot of times we see people that are consistently in launch mode, consistently offering things, and we don't look and we don't actually see what kind of team they have. And so we are, putting ourselves in positions to do the same thing because we're like, this is how it is, how you have to be successful. And we don't take those things into consideration. So the fact that you said, I had this really big launch and I was exhausted and I took the time, like, I love that because I feel like things will still be there when we get back. We might not necessarily be there if we are not taking care of ourselves. And I know that's like a big, thing to say, but it truly is. And when you think about a business, like your business is going to be there. It wasn't like you weren't working on an aspect of your business. You were, but you were really looking at where you should put your energy. And I think that every time, like, we should look at that.
Yeah.
It's really hard to know exactly who has help where and what. And if you're not feeling like doing something, even though you put it on the calendar, like, know that you have this space and you have the right, and your body is telling you, hey, let's just take a moment. So I love that you did that for yourself, Lauren, because it's one of those things like we're just human. And I know I don't, and I know you don't have like a huge team of people running and working for you.
No, I
You
mean,
are.
I do at the studio. I'm not saying it's huge, but I have my teachers. I have like a marketing manager, Melody, who's been on here. I have somebody who's like facilities manager. I'm not washing the windows. Like there's a lot of
Mm,
moving pieces there. But when it comes to my other
yeah, that's
aspect
what
of
I
my
was talking
business,
about.
it's
Yeah.
just me. Um,
Hmm.
and I'm only one person, and I don't want to be spread thin. And I feel like I've learned a lot in the last couple of years. And you're right, there are people out there who have these huge teams and they're doing big launches. And I mean, we both know, like, looking at it as an insider, they might not even know like what's going on at the time. It's like there's a machine working for them,
Hmm. Hmm.
but most of us small creators don't have that. So how do we find what's sustainable for us? And I guess getting to that, sorry, I have a toddler doing my makeup right now. A lot of like big teachers out there who also have dipping their toes in business and like teaching on that are always having people like set really lofty goals, like go for what feels, scary and this and that. I think one of my biggest lessons from the last couple of years is that actually has not served me at all. Like, I think it's good to feel into that as far as like future visioning, but when it comes to goals, I think having goals that are
Grounded,
sus- grounded and like, I don't want to say
sustainable.
easy to hit, but like that are possible.
Well, it's still a goal. I feel like when people, and I know exactly what you're talking about,
Mhm.
have goals, have a, I don't know, have a 20K month, right?
Mhm.
Let's just use that as an example. I think that's a doable goal depending on where you are, what you're doing, how you're getting an income. But why don't we start with that, I don't know, 4K month? Then
Mhm.
let's move it up to like that's what goals are. Like, it's not just supposed to be you think of something and then you go reach for the stars for that. Like, it's a step system, in my
Yeah.
opinion. And if you surpass certain steps, that's great, right? But at the end of the day, I don't think it works well for a lot of people. And I think that type of mentality is for people who might be playing themselves small. If you're trying to have a 20K month and you're already having a 17K month, yes, go for the 20. Like you're not going to hold yourself back. But if you haven't even had 2K yet, and what you're
Yeah.
trying to do, like going for 20,000, it's not realistic. And I
Yeah, I
think,
think it's doing more harm than good, and
yes.
it can feel very defeating to like be nowhere near your goal, you know?
Yes. Yes. So being very grounded, I think is huge. And I know we were like, we're in spirituality and we're supposed to like be open to the abundance and the possibility of whatever the universe has for us and coming our way. Do I believe that? Yes. But I also I'm realistic too. You know what I mean? And I think the truth is somewhere in the middle. Does
I
that
think,
make sense?
yeah. Sorry, Jeff is brushing my
I,
hair
I
right now.
see.
It's very aggressive. Um, yeah, we're bound by like the physical as
Mhm.
well. And yeah, for me, like one of the big things business wise this year is to have really detailed um, KPIs. So, like key performance indicators in spreadsheets, and like on the same day every month, I go in and like fill it all out, and it lets me see where I am in a really realistic way. Um, and yeah, I have goals, and I I should be able to meet them, this year, and that feels really good. Um, so yeah, I feel like a lot of this year for me has been going back to basics in a way, and just kind of I don't know. I think I've had this feeling of wanting to make this big impact, and due to that, I haven't had enough appreciation or even like realization of the impact that I actually do have, and the ways that it is big, but like that might not be reflected in follower count or um, number of books sold, or, whatever that might be. And I think I'm getting to a more like grounded place with that.
Yeah, and I also think too, Lauren, we have to look at like, especially I know for me, like where we got our trainings from and what all that looks like. I know we're not supposed to compare, but you have to like look at something to know that it's attainable. But when you're looking at the thing that already has like the follow count and the this and the that and the success, it's really hard to be like, okay, this is not where I am yet. This is where I possibly am aspiring to go. But what does it look like for me right now? And I think when we're in the trainings and in the talks and in the things, certain coaches may not speak to that point of you want to have a 20K month. That's great. Let's shoot for this. I think if you're telling anyone, who's just starting off, go big or go home, I think that's like not safe. I think that's ungrounded, and I think it can do a lot of damage. So I love that you've put all that into place and you're really focusing on that masculine aspect of your yoga business too, and then also looking at your other side of your business and saying, you know what, I actually do have certain things going on and I'm proud of that.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. We've got a couple more things we were going to chat about. So this is a long one. That's all right.
Yeah. You can break it out in parts.
Yeah. Maybe I'll go into motherhood. Motherhood.
Okay.
As much as it is a huge part of my life, I feel like maybe I don't have as much to say about it right now. Just that, like, we're kind of going with the flow. Uh, Gemma is at such a fun age right now. She's 3.5. She's happy. Um, just things she's really into. Her vocabulary is just taking off.
Yes, it
Um,
is.
I feel really proud of her. I love our relationship together. And yeah, we're just in it. We're just in it the day to day right now. I'm also kind of looking ahead. I actually bought like a pre-K homeschool curriculum,
Mhm.
like that for the next 2 years. I don't know if I'm going to use all of it, but it was on sale, and I'm like, this
Why
is the one
not?
I've been kind of like drawn to and interested in. So yeah, I think like this fall we'll start some like, very chilled out homeschool type of stuff that's mostly like kind of just formalizing what we're already doing, because she's
Mhm.
learning every day. She's naturally into like her letters and numbers and all of that, and into books, and just soaking in the environment around her. So that's been really good. Yeah, I don't have a lot to add other than just how grateful I am that I've become a mother, how grounding it's been for my life, how good it's been for our family. Um, how challenging it is too at times, but I know that I'm better due to the challenge, you know? Not that that's the only reason to have kids, to make yourself better, but, like, I really do. Uh I feel like I'm a more focused, grounded person due to her, and, yeah, I feel really, really grateful for that. I'd say, like, one of my biggest challenges is saying no to stuffed animals.
Does she ask for it, or you look at and you're like, "Oh, she should have that."
No, she asks. Um, she's never been one to, like, really be attached to any specific toy. She just loves novelty. She's Sagittarius. She loves new things. She loves adventure. Therefore, like, she just wants new stuffies all the time, and I'll say no, but, um, yeah, sometimes she's at the age too where, like, she spills the tea constantly, like, she doesn't keep anything to herself, and,
Mhm. Mhm.
uh, any little thing we get at the store, as soon as Arthur comes home, she runs and shows him, and I'm like I'm like, do we have to?" Not that I wanna hide things from him, but I know he's already like, "Why in the world do we have, like, 100 stuffed animals, and then we have a new one?" Um, Even if it's, like, a $2 one from the thrift store, it's not the money, it's the
It's the item,
yeah.
the thing.
We went to our friend's house this weekend, and she has a front door mat that says, like, "Please hide the packages from my husband," or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all in good fun. I would not do anything that would actually jeopardize my relationship or marriage. I don't wanna hide things from him. It's just, like, sh everything. She's like, "Look what I got today, daddy," and I'm like,
Mhm. Mhm.
"Keep it on the DL, girl."
Right. We don't have to show everybody everything. Like, it's
No, but
cool.
she's so excited to show him. But what she'll say too is, I'll get the stuffed animal or whatever, and she'll be like, "Oh, daddy's gonna be so proud of me." That's what she says.
Because of the reaction that he gives her. I love that. It's almost
Mhm.
the opposite. Macy likes to
Mhm.
when I like when Daniel's with the kids and he'll do whatever and Mace will be like, "Mommy, Daddy let me watch 30 extra minutes on my tablet." And I'm like, "Oh, he did he?" "Mhm." And Daniel's sitting there like, "Why you gotta snitch? Why you gotta do that, kid?" He doesn't say it to her, but he's like not looking me in my eyes. And when we talk about it later at night, he's like, "Why does she do that? Why can't she just keep it between us?" I was like, "Because she wants me to know." Sometimes I think it's because I'm such like I'm not necessarily a hard ass when it comes to screen time, but I am so like, no, you've had this time. The
Oh, yeah.
timer's off. I'm not gonna undo it. You can come back to it tomorrow. Um, so when Daddy extends it, I think she just wants to know that it can be done. So she's letting me know, like in case she asks me, Daddy did this, so you can do it too, Mommy. Um, did you have anything else to share?
No, I don't think so. I feel like
No.
it's probably I don't wanna say it's the thing I have the least to say about right now. It's just there's not a lot of, like, n
New
new
things
yeah,
happening.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so as far as motherhood for me, it's been challenging. It's been challenging the past few months for me, especially with Macy. We've had a lot of behavioral things. And Bessie's, if you don't know, Maciana goes to school. She's in kindergarten. And well, she goes to school when I want her to go to school. She's technically a late birthday, so she was still supposed to be in pre-K. But she wanted to go, and I said, okay, sure. She's doing really, really well academically, but behavior wise, when Maciana's bored, she just doesn't know how to not do what her brain, she says, is telling her to do. And so that's been challenging. It's been really challenging, and I think I might have shared this in the March episode or our spring episode, but I just wanted to know. I felt really out of control as a mother. I felt like I don't know what I'm doing, or how I can help her. And I feel like her acting this way, like a complete different child than what I get, was telling me something was wrong. So I decided to put Macy on it in therapy and play therapy. And so far we've been doing really good. And she play acts out her days and all the things. And there hasn't been anything uncovered yet. But just like with our growth, it takes time. And so I'm hoping over time we'll get to what might be happening. But I'm not going to say it's a moot point because next year she is going to be home with me homeschooling. But I would love to know what might be going on in her little brain of why she feels the way to, or the need to act out. So it's a little disconcerting sometimes as a mom when you feel like you have it figured out. And what I mean by figured out is like you just have a system, and my system has been like interrupted multiple times. Like there have been like, even podcasting days where we didn't get to record because I had to go and get her. So this season of motherhood has been very challenging. It's also rubbing off onto my son, who is now in the I want to bite and hit things. And you're still trying to like show them love and teach them like, ow, that hurts. We don't like that. So I've been teaching Macy to walk away, and I've been walking away and telling him, ouchie, mommy doesn't feel good, and I walk away. Um, so it's just been a very, very challenging couple of months as far as being a mom. It had me question like, am I focusing too much on what I want and maybe neglecting their needs? And I've been sitting with that question for a while, and I don't think that is the case. I just think that at this point in time, my focus is being asked to shift to the children, and how can I accommodate that? And I can accommodate that by not doing as many massages. I can accommodate that by really like keying in on maybe some triggers that they might be having. I can accommodate that by maybe I need to switch like our morning routine out, which switches my own routine out. I'm being asked to be flexible, and I'm okay with that. But in it, when you're in it, when your world feels like it's falling apart, so to speak, it's just very hard. And I've had you, Lauren, you've said it's hard. And know that it's hard, and it's okay that it's hard. And I really appreciate that for you. You didn't give me any advice, you didn't give me anything. You were just like acknowledging how hard it's been. And so having someone like that and having you there to say that and to just reaffirm that I'm not going crazy, that my world is not being turned upside down, it's just hard right now, has been really, really good for me. So yeah, motherhood has been interesting. But the kids, I mean, it's like I have little Sour Patch Kids, man. They are so sweet, so loving, and then they're just like little, I don't know, they're just like little sour pusses when they're not with me. And maybe it's just they just want to really be with me all the time. And it's been interesting, Lauren, you're used to having Gemma around you all the time, and I have always had myself set up to where I've had like a separation. I felt like I've needed that with the kids, but Miles I feel like he's a lot like Gemma. He really just wants to be with me. And I need to learn how to like shift and change and like see, all right, what is the lesson here? Like, am I like needing to just be more present in this stage, in this time? So yeah. Motherhood's been interesting, but I am learning a lot about myself. I'm learning a lot about like still figuring out. You would think like kids 5, kids almost 2. I'd kind of like figure out this thing yet. This second go round has been a lot harder. It's been a lot harder for me to figure out time for myself. It's been a lot harder for me to figure out fitting in things with Daniel, our relationship. It's been a lot harder. And yeah, I just want to acknowledge all the other mamas out there who have, one and more children, because it's tough. is tough learning the shifts. I felt like with Macy, I was able to navigate all her different changes really well. They just seemed doable in a way. It seemed graceful. This go round, I feel like I'm in a whirlwind. So, yeah, motherhood's been interesting, but I'm okay with that. I think recognizing that, acknowledging that, growing from that, and learning from that is part of the process, and not taking anything out on my children is part of the process, and it's helping me grow too. So, I am grateful. I am grateful for this time because I know there's going to be a time where my son's not going to want to be with me all the time. I know that's going to be part of it. And he's going to want to go, or he's going to want to have a little girlfriend, or he's going to want to go hang out with his friends or something like that. And that'll be like, oh man, I remember the time where he was this. And so really sitting in this and being in this time is what I'm trying to do, even through the challenge.
Well, thank you. Thank you for sharing all that. And it's hard to explain, and I only have one, but like this young period of time, like it's a season and it is all encompassing. And it's amazing that we even have like other aspects of our life that we can talk about. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
that's why I was like, I almost can't talk about this because it is like, it's the sea that I'm swimming in right now. It's, it's like the air I am breathing. It's hard to like even nail it down because it's just everything.
Yeah.
And yeah, it won't be like that forever. And yeah, kind of weird to think about, and it'll be challenging in other different ways. And yeah.
Yeah. I think it's important for us to talk about it, and to also have our
Mhm.
mom friends that we can talk about it with, because sometimes I feel like, I don't know, you feel like you're doing something wrong and you're not being the best
Mhm.
mother you can, and you're just, it's just happening to you when that's not the case. It really isn't the
Yeah,
case. So, yeah,
it's all
it's
of it.
it's nice to feel like you're not alone.
Absolutely. Well, should we talk about our last topic? Spirituality. I'd love to know. I feel like even though this is your spiritual besties, we haven't really like the two of us gotten into it in a little while. So I'd really love to know where you're at right now.
Yeah. Um for me, it's been kind of, when I first got on this journey, I felt the need to like have a bunch of practices and a bunch of things in place to help me connect in. Um, but in this season, Lauren, I'm just connecting when I can. I am just tapping into the divine when I can. I am practicing presence when I can. Um, it's been, you know, when we pull cards on the pod, I haven't been doing much during my, full or new moon rituals like I used to. It hasn't been as consistent because I feel like, especially with the kids, I've had a whirlwind of things happening in the past couple of months. But I don't know. There's been something about this energy shift lately that I've just been wanting to really connect back in. And like I said, I don't need the tools so much anymore, but really sitting with myself, asking questions. I know before we got on the pod, we were talking about the solar eclipse, and instead of me just being like, oh, neat, cool, I decided to go inward, and I decided to just like to feel how the energy of the eclipse felt and just really connect that way. And yeah, like from the science aspect, it's important, but I also, just in the everyday, just trying to connect. And when I mean connect, I just mean with divine, with source, with that part of me, also my soul, really listening in, really tapping into my emotions, because I feel like that's how I communicate with my soul, or how we communicate. And just being very, very, very aware. Well, I hope soon in another season that I'll get to go back to all my practices and do all my things and remember to set out and charge my moon water and all the things. Absolutely. But right now, I just have to be okay with like stepping in, tapping in when I can. and then like being here for the rest of the ride. That is life. How about you?
I love what you're saying. And the tools are fun. I know I've explicitly said before, like, they're unnecessary, and I don't mean, like, don't use them or they're bad. It's just, like, they're only symbols for what's going on internally, I think,
Mhm.
within us. Um, and yeah, I'm not, like, pulling cards every day or I don't know, keeping an alt I may have, like, special things on a shelf, but I don't know. It doesn't look like anything quote unquote spiritual. I do practice
Mhm.
yoga. Um, for me, I feel really connected when I'm teaching. And I have a brand new class of students right now, of teacher trainees, and it's a very deep, powerful process that they go through over the 6 months. So holding space for them is a lot, and just yeah, remembering what it's like to be in that transformative type process is always really good for me. But honestly, just integrating and putting all I've learned into practice in my daily life is like what my spirituality is right now. So it's how I mother, how I want to care for my home, like how I want to do all the things that we're talking about in this episode. You know, I want to do it with love, as the basis for everything, and to be discerning. And I know I was talking about the last couple of years career wise and like kind of creating this bridge to a different career if I needed. But I also think a lot of what I've gone through was to process like the last 40 years of my life and to make peace with a lot of things and to move forward in a way that feels really grounded and sustainable. And I feel like I keep saying those two words, um, but they're how I feel in my spirituality too. That being said, like I'd say I believe this is how I'd explain what I believe. In a way, I'm agnostic because I really don't think that anyone can like fully know what the process of God is and of those workings and things like that. But I'm also spiritual. Sorry, hold on. Hey, Gemma, if you don't want to listen to me talking, please go over there. Okay, I'm almost done. Thank you. Okay, maybe I'll cut out who I am and what I believe. Okay, you're muted.
I marked it, so whatever you want to do.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Last time we had this conversation, I think I was talking about really being like in the mystery of everything. And I still feel that way. Like I'm in awe, I think, when I really stop and am present to life, I'm really in awe of it. And I also can't really pretend to like understand
Mhm.
fully. I can look into the science of things, I can feel into my intuition or into spirit, but I don't know. Can't know how everything works, and I think that human desire to have to know, it can be really harmful. It's okay to
Mhm.
live in the gray and in the mystery. Um, what I did wanna share is, like, at times I have had more, like, profound in your face type experiences, and I haven't had anything like that in a while. Um, but I've been down this rabbit hole lately of, near-death experiences.
Oh
That's
yeah.
not something I've experienced, but I can't remember, like, where this resource came up, but I listened to a podcast a few days ago with, like, one of the leading scientific researchers on near-death experiences. He's a psychiatrist who kind of I'll have to look up his name, who kind of came into this work by accident. He would be kind of one of the points of contact with somebody um, when they were in the hospital for something psychiatric, or maybe they had attempted suicide or something like that. And he started hearing like accounts from these people of near death experiences for those who had tried to commit suicide but didn't complete it. Um, and they're really interesting. And there are a few things like he couldn't explain, like somebody hearing a conversation that he had with somebody else, like in a different room, and like seeing things that were really small details that like couldn't be guessed, you know? So he started really looking into these like out of body experiences and like what people experience when they die and come back. And he's compiled anecdotal evidence from like thousands of people at this point. And he's really like codified things in a scientific way. He's published like straight up scientific research for it. Um, so it's really, really interesting. And I've been listening to his book over the last few days. I'm trying to like find Audible on my phone right now, but I keep talking so I can say what his
You can
name
say his
is.
name, yeah.
Yeah. His book is called After, and his name is Bruce Grayson, MD. Um, a doctor
Could you
explores what near-death experiences reveal about life and beyond.
Mm.
But it's been really fun to listen to because so many of like his findings are very like yogic. It's stuff that people have found through meditation for thousands of years. And then hearing what people have experienced when they're in these states where like their brain is dead, their heart's not working, is really cool. And I don't think he can say it's definitive proof, but it's like, okay, we can see and know that the mind and the brain are two different things.
Mhm.
So what happens when the brain isn't working anymore and the mind is still existing? Like, what is that? And it's really cool, like listening to all these different accounts of what people experience. And it's like often this sense of oneness, of wholeness, of some sort of divinity. It's this like deep knowing of purpose and what this is all about. Sometimes it's like a life review of like, this is all the things that have happened and how it's affected other people. But for me, it's been really good and like affirming to be listening to this because it reminds me of experiences that I've had, not dead, and of like some core beliefs that I have held, and gives me some like, I don't know, just something to hold on to because I think sometimes there is so there's a lot of like fear mongering. There's a lot of things that are scary in life. And one of the scariest things to think about is like that we die and either something bad happens or everything is just gone forever. It's kind of like, what is this for? And I don't want to be in this space where I'm nihilistic. I don't want to feel like there's no purpose to anything. It's not what I truly believe. But sometimes I feel like I need some outside affirmation to like reinforce the belief that I have in unconditional love and of purpose.
Yeah, I think that's fair to like one feel that way from time to time and also to kind of have that affirmation. And I know I shared on the pod and I shared with you that was when I was going through my spiritual awakening, that was the one thing I needed to know. I needed to know. And I needed like a clear sign that this was all for nothing, that it didn't just end in my last breath. And I had that profound, huge, profound dream, which also I got more information about when Lauren Chavez was on our pod. I wish we had kept recording because we had talked about so many good things. Um, and I feel like that's why sometimes people fall into these ruts or they fall into a belief system that they're just kind of going through the motions with because you want to believe in something more. And really, in spirituality, I don't want to say religion or Christianity or whatever is proof, right? But it is so huge and there's so much energy behind it that it's almost tangible, right? Whereas when you are on the spiritual path, there are so many things guiding you and speaking to you and talking to you, and so many ways you can go, and so many things that sometimes one, it can be overwhelming and it can also feel like unbelievable at times. So when we're on this path, I think it's like safe to say that sometimes it does feel that way. And sometimes having those affirmations or the reaffirmations that, you know, there is more to just this thing. I There have been so many times where I'm just like, there cannot possibly only be this. There just can't. They're it can't be. Do I have proof? I have my dream that I had. And for now, that's like all I need, you know? And I'm sure you've been on you've been on this path for a lot longer than I have. I'm sure I'll come to a point where it's just there are just certain things that I might see or go through that I'm just like, okay, what what am I going to do? Like what do I need to like kind of put my faith back into this? And I think that's like human too. That's human nature to kind of need like a little extra push, a little extra bump. Especially when we see our fellow man doing all the things or saying all the things or lying about all the things. It's just hard sometimes, you know?
Yeah, I absolutely agree. It's hard to see horrible war, genocide, starvation, even just like domestic abuse and feel hopeful sometimes. And at the same time, I do have this belief that there is something bigger. Obviously, I wouldn't be doing this podcast,
Mhm.
if I
Yeah, for
didn't have
sure.
that. Um, I think on the flip side, especially with access to social media, I'm just seeing so many people who are into quote unquote spirituality falling into like a lot of the trappings of religion where
Mhm.
there's dogma, there's like buying into these really intricate systems of how spirituality is and hierarchies. I don't know. And I think it's okay to explore a lot of different things, but in the end, you have to discern what is real for yourself and also lay down your ego enough to realize you probably like don't really know. um, and I don't know. I find myself feeling really turned off a lot of times where like I'm not like, okay, we shouldn't have spirituality in the title of this podcast because I think it's a really important part of it. But I was like, I wonder if that word even totally points to the way I feel sometimes, because I guess in the end, it's not a monolith. There isn't one way to be spiritual.
Mm.
Um, but it's like, I'm also, I don't know, just to be, sometimes I don't know like how much to say on this podcast and how much to like keep to it, but I'll just be open. There's someone who is pretty big in the spirituality world right now, big YouTube channel, big Instagram, that says she is like channeling the Galactic Federation and aliens, and that like she's remote viewing celebrities and like high government people and seeing all this stuff, and she's always like spilling the tea on who's reptilian and who's not. And I hear that stuff and I'm just like, oh my god, you are scamming everybody. And it's not to say that like there aren't aliens or that like certain things couldn't be real, but it's like your certainty or the way you're presenting this certainty of how the world is and what it works, and like you're acting like you're pulling up the veil behind like, this mystery. I don't know, to me it just feels like religion and I'm not into it.
Yeah.
And that's just one example, but it all like folds into conspiracy theories and I just
Well, I think this is also like the big part of one any religion or spirituality is maybe at one point in time this person felt and was truly connected. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But sometimes I think some of us may start off with the best intentions, but lose ourselves and like our purpose along the way because we get caught up in either the fame or either in the attention or either in the money or the actual energy around people like really believing what we have to say or hearing what we have to say. Like there are so many things that happen. Like this person could have growing up not had anyone listen to them, not
Mhm.
had anyone believe in the things that they're saying. That could have been truly divine things that happened, right? A lot of the things that you listed, I don't even know. Like, I'm
Mhm.
not even there yet on my journey to know what she's talking about.
Mhm.
But at the end of the day, we have to still remember we're human. That's why when people are talking about like churches and popes and little boys, like that should never happen. But it's human. Like, that's why we should not put any man above anybody, because we are all human. And it's just like with religion, just like with spirituality, we are all having our human experience. We're on this sphere to have that experience, and how we choose to play it through, depends on the actions that we take and, what we do with it. But in anything, you're right, Lauren, like, we have to use discernment, whether you're on a spiritual path, whether you're on a religious path, whether you're on not believing anything path. You still have to use discernment in this experience, because you can do a lot of harm to those around you if you do not. She could very well fully be believing 100% in what she's saying, but there are a lot of people who believed in what they were saying. Can we talk about Hitler? Like, there were a lot of people who believed, and without a shadow of a doubt, in what they were saying. They had that belief, they had that drive, they had that knowing, and it might have come from an honest place or a good place in the beginning, but was warped by the human experience, and the energy behind it. So, I mean, I feel like we can go on and on and on with that, but you're absolutely correct. It's a little nerve-wracking sometimes when you see these people say these things, or you find out that what people said about their beginnings are untrue, or you get to be on the inside of certain systems and see how things actually are. But you just have to remember, we're all human, and some people just do not use discernment in what they're saying and what they're doing, and they're causing more harm than good.
Well, as the givers and of the recipients, for sure. I think, like, it's disheartening to me. Not that I like put a lot of stock into high level spiritual teachers. When I say high level, I just mean with big audiences or big reaches. But yeah, it's like, okay, there's a lot of like calculation going on of people lying about credentials. And speaking about a different teacher right now, uh, it's like, if they felt like their message was enough, would they have to like lie about
Where they came from, or what their
or
beginnings were.
embellish things or whatever it might be? And it's like, I don't know. Maybe I need to just stop looking outside of myself. But I think like being on this path you have to have this balance of an open mind and discernment, because like when you close your mind to the way things are, you're closing your mind to the mystery, right?
Mhm.
And when you're just so open-minded that you're not utilizing critical thinking or discernment, then you're putting yourself in a dangerous position, right? Maybe
For
following
sure.
a teacher or belief system that leads you to harm yourself or others. Um, yeah, I don't know where I'm getting at with this exactly, but I think that for me, yeah, just like continuously pondering this question is important,
Mhm.
you know?
Well, also to continuously, like, knowing that spirituality doesn't look a certain way. I
Mhm.
think that's the big thing for
Yeah.
me on this path, because we all have like this religion that we see. This is what a certain religion is, and this is how you follow it, and this is how you're a part of it. This is how you know you are this thing. And when it
Mhm.
comes to spirituality, the only thing that you have to compare that to is religion, which is not
Mhm.
really an accurate comparison. I feel like it's always great to check in with the question, what does spirituality mean to you?
Mhm.
What does my current spiritual practices look like? What am I doing in my life that I feel deeply connected? And I think when we decide what is spirituality to us, like, every time we have someone on the pod and we ask that question, it's always different.
Yeah.
And so, because that question is always answered differently, like, everyone's spirituality, what path, whatever, is going to look different. It's going to be different. And I think because we are in a constant continuation of change and transformation, because of the very nature of who we are, it's going to look different and feel different and be different. in this season of my life, as a mom of 2 that are having some hard times happening, my current spiritual practice is just taking a moment to breathe deep, connect
Mhm.
in, connect in with my knowing, connect in with my intuition, connect in and feel connected to the universe. And that's what it is. That's what it is right now. It's also kissing my son on his cheek. It's also playing in my daughter's hair. It's also rubbing lotion on my kids' bodies.
Mhm.
It's also, you know, you can't truly define spirituality, and anyone says that it looks a certain way or this is how you are a spiritual being is straight up lying, because you
Mhm.
can't. It's always redefinable. It's always going to change. It's always going to look a little different. It has to be. It has to, in my opinion, because my spirituality is not what yours is right now, Lauren, and vice
Yeah.
versa, or anyone else that we have on this pod.
Mm. Yeah, it makes me wonder if maybe if I am to define it, it would be something like being both present and reverent to your own life,
Mm,
you know? And yes, that's always gonna look different because life is
yeah.
change.
And there are so many factors that change within your life,
Mm.
relationships, things that happen, experiences. Um, I feel like, too, that's why presence is so important. People, we talk about like, I'm just trying to be present. I'm just trying to be here. But like when you really get down to the crux of it, like that is such a huge key in spirituality. Limiting the distractions. And what I mean by limiting is, yeah, the TV, the phones, or whatever, but even just like the external noise. Sometimes my kids can be a distraction,
Mhm.
but I can work with that. I don't know. I feel like it's going to be different, and that you have to define it for yourself, and you have to keep redefining it. You have to keep playing around with it. And there is no one set, what do you say, dogma that we follow.
Mm.
That's not what spirituality is. So I don't know, it's hard, and sometimes it's a little disheartening when you follow someone or you see someone and they really made an impact, and then all of a sudden, bam, like you find out that they're a liar, right? But they're
Yeah,
still
where's
human.
the reverence in that?
Right. Right. And it makes you
And
question.
yeah, and like it can create a sense of compassion because if they feel like they need to lie, that means something about them feels like they're not enough.
Yeah. So
And
true.
probably by the whatever popularity has been cultivated through this lie, that's proven to them that
Mhm. They were not enough.
yeah, no, yeah.
I think when
I've
we step away from like the age of shock and awe, right? Like where the news or whatever, everyone wants to like shock us into like watching
Mhm.
or being here. But when we like really step out of that and not have to like be the most like over the top whatever, like we might find that, yeah, like you might not have instant success or instant popularity or instant whatever overnight. That's this whole like social media age. Oh my gosh, I got a
Mhm.
million followers or a million views. I think it's a million views. Sorry. A million views overnight from this one thing. And I'm just, I have all these followers now. That's really not, for me personally, how I feel like one community is built. Anything worth having is built. Anything sustainable or grounded is built or
Mhm.
worth having. It's not instant. And whereas our technology is moving in that way, if we bring it back to our spirituality, our purpose is not made that way, in
Yeah.
my opinion.
Yeah. In fact, it can be made at, at least this is how it feels to me. Again, open to changing my mind. Purpose is meant to be discovered over like many lifetimes.
Mm, yeah,
There's no rush.
no. And I think, and this is where discernment comes in, there is no rush, but if you are really on that path of your purpose, you will feel the pull
Yeah.
towards it. that doesn't mean like stopping and not doing it. So it's like this like
It's a dance.
wonderful dance. Yeah,
Yeah.
it really is. It really is. And it's beautiful and it's inspiring and it's encouraging. And, you know, it is also like scary and like confusing and
Yeah.
all the things all at the same time. But
Mm.
yes, this has been a really great conversation, Lauren.
Yeah.
I feel like we can talk about spirituality a little bit more in the future. I think it would be
Mhm.
really cool to do because we don't always do that. We get into it with our guests, but when it comes to you and I, maybe we'll make this like a yearly thing and
Oh.
we'll just check in over time. But I kind of wanted to leave our besties with an affirmation to kind of wrap everything in. Are you cool with that?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I have this affirmation card deck. Okay. When I share the hard parts of my story, I make room to invite others in. Jim was like, "Yes." I feel like that's so good to wrap us up because we talked
Yeah.
about some things that we weren't sure whether we should go into or not. And I think this is a big invitation to allow people to think about what their spirituality is to them in this stage and really look at who they're following and who they're watching and how that's affecting them as well. So, Lauren, thank you so much, sis. I don't think we intended for this episode to go so long.
Almost 2 hours.
Besties, if you're still here, thank you for sticking with us. I know we started off kind of late and like got deep to wrap everything up. Thank you for being on this journey with us. Let us know what you think in our DMs or on Insta or even email us. We respond to you guys, and we really appreciate you joining us on this journey of figuring it all out and feeling into it.
Well, I love you, friend. Thanks for taking the time to catch up.
Yeah, girl. Thank you too. Love you. And we will chat soon. Thank you so much for joining us for this incredible episode. If you loved it, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and tell all your besties about us.
You can also connect with us on Instagram at Your Spiritual Besties Podcast. And be sure to say hello and share your thoughts about the episode. Love you, bestie. Talk soon.